Next, we are going to study advanced database systems. The first advanced database system is object relational database. So, how can we construct object relational database? Object relational databases are constructed based on object relational data. Object relational data model is used to construct object relational databases. The object relational databases are based on object relational data. The object relational data model extends the relational model by providing a rich data type for handling complex objects as well as object orientation. Most sophisticated database applications need to handle complex objects and structures. Object relational databases are becoming increasingly popular in industry and application. Most sophisticated database applications need to handle complex object and structures. So, object relational databases are becoming increasingly popular in the industry and application. Object relational data model inherits the essential concepts of object-oriented databases, where each entity is considered as an object. So, object-oriented relational data model inherits the essential concepts of object-oriented databases, that is, object and class concepts. So, in object relational data model, each entity is considered as an object, as we are considering in object-oriented databases. When we consider the all electronics example, some objects are individual employees, customers, or items. In this object relational data model, the data and the code relating to an object, data and code relating to an object are encapsulated into a single unit. So, the data and code of an object data and code of an object are encapsulated into a single unit. It's a single unit. So object relational data model inherits the essential concepts of object-oriented databases where each entity is considered as an object. And the data as well as the code of an object are encapsulated into a single unit. Now, in object relational databases, some objects have same properties. So we can combine them into a group, which is known as class. The objects with similar properties are grouped into classes. In object relational databases, the basic unit is object. A group of objects with similar properties are grouped into classes. Now consider a single object. For each object, consider this is an object. For each object, it has associated with some measures, some measures or some attributes, some attributes or some measures are associated with each object. So each object has associated with the a set of variables, set of messages, set of methods. Set of variables describe the objects. Objects are described by a set of variables. This corresponds to attributes in the entity relationship and relational models. In ER model or relational models, we have attributes. The equivalent of attributes is the set of variables in object relational attributes. So we have set of variables. Second, a set of messages. The set of messages associated with the object can use to communicate with other objects or with the rest of the database system. When an object wants to communicate with other objects or rest of the database system, it uses messages. A set of messages associated with object can use to communicate with other objects or with the rest of the database. Third thing is a set of methods. Each method holds some code. Each method holds some code. This code is used to implement the message. So message is used to communicate between objects or with the entire database system. The messages are implemented using a set of methods. So a set of methods holds or includes code. When a message is received, when a message is receiving, upon receiving a message, a method is invoked and that method returns a value in response. So one object want to communicate with that object or with other objects. Some methods are used. When a message is received, upon receiving a message, a method is called. This method returns a value in response. Example, the method for the message get photo of employee. Get photo of employee. Get photo of employee is a message. Then for this message, a method is called. This message will this method will retrieve and return a photo of the given employee object. So each object has associated with it the following three things. Set of variables describe objects, similar to attributes in ER or relational. Second one, set of messages used to communicate with other objects or with the rest of the database systems. And third thing is set of methods. Each method holds the code to implement a message. Now, objects that share a common set of properties. Some objects share common set of properties. They can be grouped into object class. Each object is considered as an instance of object class. Each object is an instance of its class. The object classes can be organized into class hierarchies or subclass hierarchies so that each class represents properties that are common to objects in that class. Object classes can be organized into hierarchies, class or subclass hierarchies. So each class represents the properties that are common to objects in that class. Consider one example. We have a employee class. Employee class. This is the employee class. Okay. So this class has some attributes and some methods. This employee class contains the variables like name, address, and birth date. Consider another class, salesperson. salesperson is another class, which is a subclass of employee. Subclass of employee. So, a salesperson's object, assume S1, small s1. A salesperson object would inherit all of the variables present in the superclass of employee. When we have an object of salesperson, say S1, it inherits all the variables in the employee class. In addition, this salesperson has its own attributes. In addition, it has all of the variables that pertain specifically to being a salesperson. Example, commission. In employee, there are 3 attributes: name, address, birthday. In salesperson, assume there is one more attribute, commission. When we use a salesperson object S1, then it has all the variables of both employee and salesperson. When E1 is a object of employee, then it has only the 3 attributes of employee. So the class inheritance feature benefits information share. Now, how data mining is performed in object relational systems? For data mining in object relational systems, there exists different techniques, or some techniques are needed to handle several things. For data mining in object relational systems, techniques need to develop for handling some features. That is, to handle complex object structures, complex data types, class and subclass hierarchies, property inheritance, and methods and procedures. So we need to develop. Already there exist techniques for handling complex object structures and complex data types and class subclass hierarchies, property inheritance, and methods and procedures. So this is a brief introduction to object relational database. Object relational databases are constructed on object relational data model. It has a rich data type for handling complex objects and object orientation. What is the importance of this object relational database? Majority of the database applications need to handle complex objects and structures. So object relational databases are becoming increasingly popular in industry and applications. Then this uses object-oriented databases inheritance. That is, this object relational database data model inherit the essential concepts of object-oriented databases. That is entity, is considered as an object. Then the things associated with object, set of variables, set of messages, and set of then inheritance property. We discussed the inheritance property, that is how hierarchies are formed and handled by object relational databases. The class inheritance feature benefits the information sharing. Then when we apply this object relational systems for data mining, we need to develop for handling some features like complex object structures, complex data types, class and class hierarchies, property inheritance, and